Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. You know, we talk a lot about kindness and compassion here, and how important it is to be good to one another. But sometimes we all run into folks who seem to have let their egos get the best of them. It's like they're walking around with this invisible force field, deflecting any kind of real connection. So today, we're diving headfirst into a topic that might make some people squirm in their seats a little bit. Get ready for 10 brutal truths that will rattle even the biggest egos out there. All right, let's kick things off with a truth that might ruffle some feathers. We live in a world that often equates success with dollar signs. But you know what? Character matters more than money. Period. It's like that old saying goes, money can't buy you happiness. Sure, it can buy you a fancy car or a big old house, but it can't buy you integrity, compassion, or a sense of purpose. Those things, my friends, come from within. Now, I'm not saying that money is evil or anything. Having money can be great. It can give you freedom and security, and it can allow you to do good things for yourself and others. But it's important to remember that money is just a tool. It's what you do with it that really matters. Think about some of the most genuinely happy and fulfilled people you know. Are they the ones with the biggest bank accounts, or are they the ones who are kind, generous, and true to themselves? I'm willing to bet it's the latter. Because true wealth isn't measured in dollars and cents. It's measured in the richness of your character. It's about having a strong moral compass, treating others with respect, and making a positive impact on the world. These are the things that bring lasting joy and fulfillment. When you focus on building a solid character, your sense of self-worth becomes unshakable. It doesn't matter if you're up to your eyeballs in cash or barely scraping by, your integrity and dignity remain intact. On the flip side, when you tie your self-worth solely to your financial status, you become a slave to it. You start measuring your worth by the size of your bank account, and that's a dangerous game to play. Because what happens when the market takes a nosedive or you make a bad investment? Your entire sense of self crumbles right along with it. And you know what else? People who equate their worth with their wealth often become, well, a little possessive. They hoard their money, afraid to spend it or share it because they see it as an extension of themselves. And sadly, some even end up compromising their values, all in the name of accumulating more wealth. But here's the thing, true happiness and fulfillment come from within. They come from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and living a life that aligns with your values. So let's not forget that character is king, folks. It's what truly matters in this crazy game of life. Okay, let's move on to truth number 2, which is a real doozy. The pursuit of status is a zero-sum game. It's like trying to win a race where the finish line keeps moving further and further away. You're constantly chasing after something that's ultimately unattainable, and it can leave you feeling empty and unfulfilled. You know, I was listening to Naval Ravikant, this super smart tech investor, talk about status, and he made a really interesting point. He said that seeking validation through status is like building your house on rented land. You're constantly at the mercy of others, relying on their approval to feel good about yourself. And the problem with that is, someone else can always come along with a bigger house, a fancier car, or a more impressive job title. And just like that, your sense of self-worth goes. The truth is, true happiness and fulfillment come from within. They come from knowing who you are, what you value, and living a life that's in alignment with those things. When you're secure in yourself, you don't need external validation to feel good. You're not constantly comparing yourself to others or trying to keep up with the Joneses. And you know what? When you let go of the need for status, something magical happens. You free yourself from the shackles of other people's opinions. You're no longer afraid to be your true, authentic self, quirks and all. And that's when you really start to shine. So how do we escape the status trap? Well, Naval suggests focusing on building what he calls internal status. It's about cultivating a deep sense of self-worth that comes from within, rather than relying on external factors like job titles, possessions, or social media followers. It's about pursuing excellence in all areas of your life, not to impress others, but because it brings you joy and fulfillment. It's about being kind, compassionate, and making a positive impact on the world, not for the recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. So let's ditch the status game, folks. It's a rigged game that nobody truly wins. Instead, let's focus on building a life that's rich in meaning, purpose, and authenticity. That's where true happiness and fulfillment lie. Chapter 3. Truth number 3, Real Wealth Whispers. All right, let's move on to truth number 3, which might surprise you. Truly wealthy people often prefer to fly under the radar. They're not flashing their cash or trying to impress everyone with their material possessions. In fact, they often go out of their way to blend in and live relatively normal lives. You know, I've been lucky enough to meet some incredibly successful people in my life, and one thing I've noticed is that the truly wealthy ones are often the most humble and down to earth. They don't feel the need to flaunt their wealth because they understand that it doesn't define them. They've learned that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, from pursuing their passions, nurturing their relationships, and making a positive impact on the world. They're not interested in impressing others with their material possessions because they know that real wealth is about so much more than that. Now, I'm not saying that all wealthy people are humble and down to earth. We've all seen those reality shows and tabloid headlines that paint a very different picture. But I think it's important to remember that those folks are often the exception, not the rule. They're the ones who are insecure and still trying to prove something to themselves and the world. The truly wealthy, on the other hand, have already proven it to themselves. They've achieved financial success, but more importantly, they've achieved a level of inner peace and fulfillment that money simply can't buy. They don't need to flaunt their wealth because they're not defined by it. They're defined by their character, their values, and their contributions to the world. So, the next time you see someone driving a flashy car or wearing a designer outfit, don't assume that they're wealthy. And more importantly, don't assume that they're happy. True wealth whispers, my friends. It's about living a life of purpose, meaning, and generosity, not about accumulating material possessions. Chapter 4, Truth number 4. Whose opinions are you wearing? Okay, get ready for truth number 4 because this one's a real head-scratcher. Your opinions may not actually be your own. Yep, you heard that right. We like to think we're independent thinkers, forging our own paths and forming our own conclusions. But the truth is, we're all constantly being influenced by the world around us. Think about it. From the moment we're born, we're bombarded with messages about how we should look, think, and behave. Our parents, teachers, friends, family, the media, social media, they all play a role in shaping our beliefs and values. And while this influence isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's important to be aware of it so we can start to untangle our own thoughts and opinions from those that have been imposed upon us. Let's be honest, how many times have you found yourself agreeing with someone just because they're in a position of authority or because everyone else seems to be on board? It's easy to fall into the trap of groupthink, especially when we're surrounded by people who share similar views. But here's the thing, just because everyone else believes something doesn't make it true. And just because someone in a position of power says something doesn't mean it's gospel. Now, I'm not saying you should go around questioning everything and everyone. That would be exhausting. But I am encouraging you to be more mindful of the influences in your life and to start questioning your own beliefs. Why do you believe what you believe? Is it based on solid evidence, personal experience, or simply because it's what you've always been told? It's not always comfortable to challenge our own beliefs, especially if they've been deeply ingrained since childhood. But it's essential for growth. When we're willing to question our assumptions and explore different perspectives, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of understanding and possibility. We become more empathetic, more compassionate, and more open-minded. So, how do we start to untangle our own thoughts and opinions from those that have been imposed upon us? Well, it starts with self-reflection. Take some time to really examine your beliefs and values. Where did they come from? Are they still serving you? Are there any beliefs that you've simply adopted without really thinking them through? Once you've done some internal digging, start exposing yourself to different perspectives. Read books and articles from authors who challenge your worldview. Listen to podcasts with guests who have different opinions than your own. Engage in respectful conversations with people who see the world differently than you do. You might be surprised by what you learn. So, are you ready to face these brutal truths that are potential ego triggers? Remember, acknowledging these truths is the first step towards personal growth and building genuine connections. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from within, from building a strong character, pursuing your passions, and making a positive impact on the world. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going about these ego-rattling truths. Have you encountered any of these in your own life? How have you dealt with them? And if this insight was beneficial, spread the word and share this video. Let's help each other navigate the complexities of the ego and strive for a more authentic and fulfilling life. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more such enlightening content.